Most productivity advice assumes you wake up motivated, but what if you're already exhausted? You still have big goals, you still want to win the new year, but locking in for a couple of hours feels impossible. Most people think the reason they can't stay consistent is discipline, but that's where modern productivity advice breaks. It assumes you can force focus and push through resistance. But here's a secret that once I understood, literally everything changed. Your brain responds to how you reward it, not how you punish it. There's a simple system I've been using, it takes just 5 minutes to set up, that flips how easy it is to start hard things. It's called dopamine loading, and if you do it right, consistency stops feeling like a constant fight. Here's what most people's dopamine looks like throughout the day. You wake up, get on your phone, and get an instant spike. You try to work, and your dopamine starts to crash. You get back on your phone, you scroll, it's gonna spike again, and once you try working again, it's gonna just continuously spike and crash. The problem isn't that getting dopamine is bad. The problem is the constant contrast. When your brain experiences high reward before progress, everything that comes after is boring, dull, and feels pointless. So when you sit down to work, your brain isn't asking, is this important? It's asking, where's my reward? That's exactly why starting feels miserable, you're constantly restless, and within 5 minutes of work, you want to open your phone and start scrolling on Instagram. Your brain isn't broken, you don't need another viral dopamine detox. Your brain is just negotiating. It's trying to pull you back to the last thing it remembers that felt good. So here's exactly how you need to reframe this. Dopamine should follow progress, not pleasure. Here's the shift that changed everything for me. Dopamine isn't something you have to avoid, it's something you need to sequence correctly. Most people front load pleasure and delay progress until it feels comfortable, but dopamine loading completely flips that concept. Instead of saying, I'll reward myself after a hard work session, instead, you focus on getting small dopamine through repeated completion of progress. Not big wins, not long sessions, not perfect output, just tiny wins. Because your brain doesn't really care how impressive whatever you just did really was. All it cares about is closing the tiny loops you're creating. Completion creates dopamine and thinking drains it. So instead of trying to delay dopamine all day, I focus on making micro progresses built into my day. That's dopamine loading done correctly. So there's 3 parts to my dopamine loading system that you can take away and install within 5 minutes. Part 1, micro completions. When I feel stuck, the number one question that I do not ask is, what do I need to get done? That question is usually too heavy. It immediately overwhelms you and immediately creates resistance between yourself and your goals. Instead, I'll ask, what's the smallest action that changes my current state? Not my results, not my productivity, not getting closer to my end goal, literally just my current state. So if I'm laying in bed, that could be something as simple as opening a laptop. If my laptop's already open, it could just be creating the document. The smallest thing that shifts me closer to progress. That's it. The goal isn't productivity, it's beginning that momentum. Because once you get rolling, it's usually easier to continue than it is to try to start with the hardest activity. Your brain instantly recalibrates once motion starts, because it wants to finish what you began. Micro completions bypass any of that initial inertia or friction you might feel when trying to work on your goals. They don't demand discipline, they don't require motivation. All they need is a little bit of momentum, and then it can carry you the rest of the way. Okay, part 2. High energy and low energy modes. This is honestly where most people I work with lose their consistency. They build their systems for only high energy days. Perfect mornings, long workouts, deep work blocks. All these things aren't always going to happen. Some days you're mentally fried, you're exhausted, maybe you're distracted, and you can't focus on putting all of your energy into your tasks. You might still be ambitious, but your energy is just a bit lower. If your system only works when you feel fantastic, it's going to collapse the moment that you don't. So I built 2 different modes that I operate from. Number 1, high energy mode. This is where literally everything clicks. I might have rested really well last night, be mentally clear, and just ready to get to work. These are my long workouts, my perfect morning routines, yada yada. This is really where progress is going to accelerate, but it's not always the default. Usually my default is low energy mode. This is all about never hitting zero. Once you hit 0 miles per hour, your momentum's killed. You have to kickstart the car again to get moving. So even just 5 minutes of a small activity towards your goals are going to preserve your identity and keep you from hitting zero. This can literally look like just writing out one paragraph on the book you're working on, or studying one PowerPoint slide from the last lecture. It can be anything that keeps your identity on to what goals you're trying to achieve. That's how you stay consistent without discipline. Always having a version you can fall back on even when you don't feel 100%. Okay, part 3 is using AI as the dopamine stabilizer. Now, this is where the system honestly becomes unfair, and this is what separates my system from many others you're going to see on YouTube. I don't use AI to do the work for me. I use it to remove the friction before I start, because friction is where 99% of people are failing. Friction is what leads to procrastination and constantly putting off your goals and never making time for them to get done. But if you can use it correctly, AI can handle so many different aspects of planning. It can do planning, prioritization, decision making, weekly resets, sequencing what tasks you need to do in order. It can literally handle all of your prep work. So when you sit down, you're not going to be deciding what to do. It's already going to be laid out and you're just going to get it done. Clarity itself in your planning before you sit down to work already creates dopamine. When your brain knows exactly what matters and what you need to accomplish, resistance and friction are both going to drop. There's no negotiation, there's no second guessing, there's no what should I do next. Now, if you want to see a video on how to exactly prep your AI to be your planner, I'm going to link that at the end of this video. For now, let's look at why this system really works long term. It isn't a hack, it's based on your internal biology. Your brain naturally rewards dopamine with progress, and all these other chemicals inside of your brain fire off the moment you start progressing towards something meaningful. So when you dopamine load to have dopamine follow effort and not just function as pleasure, you're basically hijacking your brain to love to do hard things. Consistency slowly becomes the default. You stop forcing yourself to work, you stop negotiating, and you stop finally procrastinating. You don't have to rely on discipline, you don't need to wait for motivation, you just begin to move. So I implore you to please try what I shared with you in this video. Dopamine loading has been so effective for me to finally get over the hump that I've been in the past few months. So like I said, I'm going to link the AI video where I turn ChatGPT into my personal assistant and I show you step by step how to do the same thing. It's one of the favorites of people who watch my channel, so be sure to check it out. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.